All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody,
I'm too long.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
and today we're going to be talking about 100 Bullets, Volume 1, First Shot, Last Call, written by Brian Azzarello, art by Eduardo Risso, colors by Grant Golash, lettered by Clem Robbins, and covers by Dave Johnson. And this is published by Vertigo Comics, the mature imprint for DC Comics. So Jake, you picked this book. Can you tell us a little bit about it and why you chose it?
Yeah, I probably can. So
Probably.
yeah, probably 8 or 9 years ago, I went into a comic book store and was looking around at DC, Marvel, and I was like, man, I really like this stuff, but I want a comic book that isn't about superheroes. And so I talked to the people at the store, and they were like, man, you should check out 100 Bullets. It's pretty good. And I'm like, oh, I'll think about it. Didn't buy it. But it stuck with me. It's like, this is a recommendation by somebody, and I've always been thinking about it. It's like, man, what should I read? I've always thought about, man, I got recommended 100 Bullets by that guy I didn't know almost a decade ago. I'm like, I'll read something else.
It was a long sale. It took a while, but you finally got sold on it.
Didn't buy it from them though, so it did not matter. So 100 Bullets is about the pitch is that some guy in a suit meets people and tells them about some major event that has sort of ruined their life. In this story, we see a woman who was, while in jail, husband and kid got killed. Other guy got child pornography put on his computer that I guess he didn't download. And so agent tells them who's behind it, gives them a gun and 100 bullets. That is the title of the book. And says like, hey, this is the person who's responsible. Here's a gun. I'm not telling you what to do. But if these bullets are discovered in the commission of a crime, everybody knows not to investigate. And it's like, all right, don't know why you're doing this. Motivations are unclear, but it's mostly the stories about how these people sort of handles like, how do we know it's not a trap? How do you know like the bullets are for real? And it's interesting. Especially, I did some reading on the larger overall story, and it looks like it gets pretty dumb. But I have not finished it.
I have volume 4, and I can guarantee you, it's so dumb. It has nothing to do with this, it feels like. I was so surprised. Because, like I said, I read volume 4 because a friend gave it to me because they're like, this is bad. I was like, cool. I'll take it.
I'm sorry, wait. You read volume 4 of what?
Of this book.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So then that leads to my question. It's actually dumb. Not in a positive way.
I mean, I don't think it spoils it to just like, once, it's important in a story. I mean, this doesn't go in the bad section because this isn't about this book, right? So,
Right.
But no,
Okay.
so like, it's important in a story to have like stakes, and if somebody gets killed, maybe follow through with it every once in a while. But that book, the amount of times they have like entire rooms full of people who've been shot, and the most important person is like, damn, now I have a bullet wound. I'm not gorgeous anymore. You're like,
So that
so
explains now why, like I was about to ask, I was like, why do they really need 100 bullets? It seems like these two people, and actually the third, there's like an old lady who admits
yeah, they don't use 100 bullets.
Yeah, they don't need it.
Maybe it's better to have and not need than need and not have. You know what I mean?
I mean, does it sound as cool if you say one bullet? Actually, no, that does sound better. You have one bullet to do this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
An assortment of
Yeah.
bullets, though,
What if
doesn't
you-
really, like, roll up the tongue.
What if you... No, that's what I mean, though. Like, one bullet.
But what if it's more than
Either
one
do it-
person?
So then
Choose
just
your-
line 'em
choose
up.
your-
Just ask them politely to line up?
Actually, that would be cool. You have to come up with a you don't have to kill them with a bullet.
No, but I mean,
You
it's
don't have to kill them.
it's very American, which is also part of this book's problem. Well, not this book's problem, but this story's problem seems to be it's all about America.
Well, only crimes happen in America.
Well, no, it's
Though.
no, the part that was dumb that I didn't even know about that you had read earlier that read more was like the grand story of this seems to be that back when they were discovering America is when they founded the association that Agent Graves belongs to. And it was the promise that old European, like, basically Illuminati types would never touch America, and then they did. And then that became a problem.
You say putting it that way. That sounds cool.
I mean, yeah, no, but it's
Did
dumb.
they have-
It's like the Minutemen, and there's a... Man, Brian Azzarello loves numbers. He's like, even like all the titles of the collected volumes all have numbers in them. And like they'll go as so far as to like use numbers in different languages to make a pun in English. It's like, man, that's dumb. But like you chose a gimmick for this book and you stuck with it. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, what a math nerd. But okay, I have this important question regarding this later plot detail that, back in colonial times, this organization existed. Was it 100 untraceable musket balls?
No, they're responsible
That's
for
all
the
you
disappearance of the colony of the Croatoan colony.
Oh, or
Huh? Wait, we don't know because they disappeared.
Well, we do
Oh,
know
Their
though.
name.
Because Croatoan was the name of a nearby Native American tribe, and the person who was like, they discovered it when they were like 2 years late to visiting the colony, and record keeping at the time indicates a bunch of new pale kids in the native tribes, and then
Right
everybody's
next
just
door.
like, where'd the Croatoans go? What happened?
No, so I mean, like, they wandered into this colony that was, like, starving and whatever when they were supposed to help. And there's, like, that word carved into the wood or whatever, right? That's the whole thing.
yeah, is that Roanoke?
Yeah, Roanoke.
Okay, I was
Roanoke.
wondering.
Oh, okay.
I was like, don't think that's the
I've
right
heard
name,
of
man.
Roanoke before.
It's like, yeah, but like I always remember it as Croatoan because it's like that's the answer. It's written with your language, the name of the tribe that you decided. It's like, how do you not get that?
God,
All right.
I wonder where they went.
So Roanoke, that's the same colony that that woman from Marvel 1602 is
Yes,
from, right?
that's right.
The girl. Yeah.
I mean, all Native Americans are from that colony.
That's-
Yeah.
There is very much an American obsession with that, like, not mystery.
well, yeah, it's just Roanoke is the one that's easiest, but like most like unsolved mysteries like that have a pretty obvious answer that everybody's just decided to not listen to.
It's not as cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, if it's 100 musket balls, then, like, yeah, you need 100 of them to hit something.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, that's the whole thing, right, with this book. The first section is about Izzy, or Isabella. Dizzy, that's it.
Dizzy. Yeah.
Isabella / Dizzy, her nickname, and she just got out of jail, and during the time she was in jail, you know, her husband and her baby were killed in a drive-by shooting. And, you know, police claim that they shot down the people who did it. Actually, I didn't think about that.
It's one of those things where
They
it's
just gunned
really
them down?
convenient that like oh, you killed the bad guy and all the witnesses. Who knows what happens? I guess you'll have to take my word for it.
Well, also, like, wasn't it said more, her brother was saying, oh, thank goodness they gunned him down. Something like that.
Or else I would have done it, is what
Yeah.
he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't actually... I usually go in pretty pessimistic into stories like that where I'm like, everybody's at fault. I didn't see the twist coming, to be real.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was
No.
yeah, that sucked. It's like, man, you learn like you're already like I really like the first couple issues of this where it's establishing the premise, how we know it's not like a big setup, and the like we learn along with the characters. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like the twist where it's like, man, you're like you are alienated from your like community because you got to spend all this time away. And then it turns out like the reason, well, not the reason you went away, but like the reason why you can never really reintegrate is because your brothers set up your husband and kid to die. It's like, man, it's pretty messed up.
I mean, is that the reason why she can't reintegrate? The whole reason is because she's choosing not to, like, she doesn't want to be part of that lifestyle anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to do gangster stuff.
Right. And she said, like, the only thing that was keeping me here, essentially, not in those words, but is gone.
But yeah, she doesn't know where else she's going to go until, like, isn't it on the bus, like, out of the prison that we meet Agent Graves?
Yeah.
Which is, man, he was waiting up. It's not a long time, but, like, was it like 11 years she spent in jail?
No, it was 3,
She was supposed to do 15 and only, like, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Like a fraction.
So I guess,
She
yeah,
was,
that's not
like,
that long then.
She got married when she had her baby when she was 15, settled down, and now she's like 20-something here.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only been a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the whole reason she went to jail in the first place is they try to say, you know, wrong place, wrong time. It was a drive-by shooting, and like everybody died except for her, so she got blamed.
And that was unrelated to her husband
The
and
other.
son dying.
Yeah, they keep trying to blame like her husband's and child's death on like rival gangs, and you know Graves, the guy who gives her the gun, is pretty much like, no, it's these two corrupt cops.
And then Dizzy believes that it was punishment from God for what she had done.
Well, that's the thing. I like a lot about it where she's like, even if I kill them, you know, what's the point?
Right.
I'm being punished because I'm bad. And what is it like later on? The last thing that's really said to her is like, well, what are they then? Like, are the
Yeah.
police officers good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, but so that's kind of like Dizzy's story. She
Well, yeah, the ending, right?
Mhm.
She finally goes. Well, she's becoming convinced that she's gonna, you know, kill the police officers, and then they take her aside, and they seem convinced that her brother told her the whole truth, that he
Mhm.
was in on it, that her husband had not stopped doing gang stuff, and so he was unwilling to work with the police. He wanted to stay, you know, separate. You know, as I said, he saw the police as just another gang trying to move in on his territory.
Mhm.
And since he didn't agree to work with them, he got shot down. And who set it up? Her brother.
Yeah. Sucks.
So I read this like yesterday when I was laying in bed. So I don't feel like I got the full impact of, oh no.
I mean,
The
your
twist,
brother,
I was like, okay.
her brother never seemed like a great guy, but didn't seem like criminal mastermind. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Let's shoot a baby.
I mean, you know, to be fair, like the way that they described him, it's like, man, he's going someplace. You know, I was like he must be. like a
Yeah.
mastermind or smart.
I mean,
you know.
I think that that's actually an interesting part of the context. It's like when they're kind of talking about how like like I mean I know that this is like kind of in a in terms of I guess like romantic partners, but they're talking about like there's only like young men and old men, but like it's like that's where
Well, there's only boys and old men.
right, yeah, and so like basically in this like they're establishing this community, right, and so it's like this is like a breath of freshness, somebody who he's no longer a boy because he's taking all this responsibility for this criminal enterprise and like is trying to build it up and do something better. So like even if he's like not really that good, he's not a criminal mastermind, but somebody is doing something finally, because there just wasn't anybody to do anything, except for like little things here and there. It's like somebody's finally organizing.
It's like you're saying, it's the gangster context, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's less of that he's doing something great and more that he's gaining power by eliminating the competition. But also the fact that, like you were saying, I like how you brought up the boys versus, as the women say, there's either boys or there's old men, because everybody in between gets shot, I'm pretty sure. Like, they're either dead or in jail.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Talon?
That's a good question.
Interrupted.
Oh, I think I was gonna say like I disagree, at least for Emilio is his name, where like it's the idea of there's someone like he's not a boy, but I think like Cody kind of like corrected, like not corrected, but like I think I misunderstood what he was saying in the beginning, and so then he went on and was like, it's really more of the context of saying that within the community of more of the gangsters, right? Like he's up and coming, he's doing something about it. Whereas the women, I feel like, are more on the separate from that world.
Well,
I don't think like the guys are saying, oh, this boy is now a man. Like more him saying, oh, okay, this guy's doing something. But I don't think that's what Cody was saying, that they thought that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I agree with it entirely. I just think it's that context of being in the gang lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, either you're just laying around doing nothing, or you're going out and shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's interesting because, like, Isabella's mom was really pushing her. It's like, you got to get rid of those pictures of your kid and your husband. Like, get over it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to fight. And she's like, I don't want to fight anymore. It's like, you got to fight for what's yours. Like, otherwise you're going to get nothing.
Mm-hmm. I will say, like, when she was saying all that, I just felt like, okay, boomer.
That's the thing, though. She represents most of the people in that, like, neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Or, like, just the gang lifestyle in general, where it's like, Isabella's trying to argue, we're fighting over nothing. Nothing here belongs to us. It's just, the whole idea of, how it is in, like, short term in gangs like that, where it's like, we took this part of the neighborhood, it's ours now. Mm-hmm. And then, somebody gets shot, and then, it gets taken back. It's just bloodshed, fighting over scraps of nothing that you're not even going to have next week. Mm-hmm. And then constant retaliation. She goes, yeah, we don't own any part of this neighborhood. The only thing that's ours is the blood on the streets. Mm-hmm. And her mom tries to, talk to her. You gotta move on. You gotta look at the bigger picture. If you're not fighting, then you're weak. and if you're weak, you die. So don't,
Mm-hmm.
be that way.
Yeah, don't be weak.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's very narrow-minded, but
Right.
it's because they're so used to that specific lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do like also the one other part where she's talking to the other guy who comes in. He works with Agent Graves,
Yeah.
and he's kind of encouraging her again. I mean, he says he isn't. You don't have a gun up to your head. You can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But she goes, well, what? She's trying to ask him what's going to happen to her. Is there going to be consequences if she doesn't get this revenge?
Mm-hmm.
Kill those two corrupt cops. And he's like, what's happened to you has already happened. Your husband, your baby died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like her response closer to the end, talking to that same guy, and he's like, you could have, well, so this is after she, okay, so basically, like, the ending of this part of the story is that she kills the two cops and then leaves her brother to be arrested. And that same guy that was trying to encourage her, but saying he wasn't, is like, you could have killed him, talking about her brother, and he was like, you had every right to. Dizzy was like, I don't have that right, and he was like, but you could have gotten away with it, and she was like, that don't make it right, and I was like, I respect that.
Yeah. Have some sort of morals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like Dizzy has like a very specific, specific makes it kind of sound like it's like clear cut with, but like
Well,
she definitely has like some moral values that are like, you don't kill a family,
I don't even know if it was you don't kill family. It's just I mean, like she says, in the end he's gonna get what he deserves. Like, punishment, like living doesn't mean it's gonna be great.
I would like to think, and I don't really know where she's coming from when she says I don't have that right, but I would like to think that she's saying because we as human beings, the revenge or the vengeance isn't ours, it's God's, and so like that's he has the right to do that, not me. I would like to think she's saying that, but I don't know if that's really where she's going from.
I don't think it's that specific, but I do think it's like it's the only, she's being constantly pushed to this revenge, kind of. Like everybody on all sides kind of pressuring her. But she also, at times says it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to bring them back. And she only ends up shooting them when she's cornered. They're going to shoot her.
Mm-hmm.
And then, her brother can't threaten her. He isn't going to shoot her, so he just lives. Although, she does shoot them and then chooses to finish them off.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, her is like, hey, I'm helping you out, all right? You're going to jail. You'll learn.
I mean, he still could die. Like, we're told that he lives, but he takes, like, at least 2 bullets and gets a bunch of drugs, like, dumped over him. Like, he could still die pretty easily.
He also implies that he might get killed in jail by, his enemies.
Well, he says that, I'll wish I was dead. He doesn't say it that way, but like
he says something like that. It's like, I might as well be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, you're gonna realize that, even if you're struggling, living is better than dying. Kind of thing.
Preach.
Okay. Also, like, kind of a question here. Do you feel like Dizzy is like, she believes in the redemptive power of the criminal justice system, or is it more of like using it in not its intended way?
I wouldn't say it's either. I mean,
She definitely doesn't believe in it, in my opinion.
mhm.
I mean, she sees it definitely as a punishment, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, I guess I see more the criminal justice system as exacting punishment as opposed to, like, we're going to redeem you. So, to me, it's like not really using it, not for its purpose either.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
So
think.
it's about, for her, it's about getting what you deserve, which we have said. It's not about fixing the problem.
Because, yeah, that outlook would have to require, like, a future possibility that he gets out of jail and they, like, make up. It's like, hey, you did some messed up stuff, but hey, you know what? You went to jail. It's okay now. It's like, I don't think Dizzy's the kind of person who would say that.
Well, and she says the opposite, too, because she says, I have no family.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
Hardcore.
has a new cushy government job, I guess. Kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know what the onboarding process is for whatever organization Graves works for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the
Well,
thing she says to her brother in the end is, her brother says this to her, I'm worse than dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I'm gonna go through, because they all know that I was snitching, and then I turned my back on cops, now they think.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody likes you.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're gonna learn that being alive, no matter what you're going through, is better than being dead, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing you a favor by not killing you.
Yeah.
But man, that next story, huh? That guy does not waste time, like,
Nope.
instantly going for it.
Also, so like, at the very end, right, when he's like, oh, I'll take that gun now. I was like, you're dumb. Don't do that.
Oh yeah, this guy's.
I saw that coming.
He's
I
not
mean-
a smart man.
Okay, so, you know, he's a bartender for some crummy bar, rundown place, and Graves comes to him, is pretty much like, you remember how your life got ruined by getting those, inappropriate images of minors, and you got charged by that, and your wife left you, and your kids are spitting on your grave every day.
Spitting on the grave that he's not in?
I mean, he literally says that at one point. I really like that where he's like, yeah, I had 2 kids. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, they're alive. And they're kicking dirt on my grave every day. Because, you know, in his opinion, he might as well be dead. Like, he's lost everything. And another case of where he didn't do anything wrong, technically.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would agree necessarily he thinks that he might as well be dead. I think it's more like he feels that he's just not going to get that life back. Because, like, why go through any of the effort in the first place?
What do you mean? Like,
Go through the effort of, all right, I'm here doing bartending, basically living. You know,
Yeah, he got a job.
why go through the
which is
effort?
weird.
Yeah. Why go through the effort of, oh, hey, I got this gun now. Sweet. I'm going to go get you now. You know, I'm going to kill you.
Okay, I see what you're saying, and the way that I interpret it is that because it kind of deals with this, like, this concept of, like, who you are isn't just, you know, you being, like, in your body, you know, doing things. He feels like his life was taken away, his family was taken away, his hobbies and interests. You know, he's a different person, but it's just a shell of a person who doesn't really do anything. It's except for works and go to a strip club.
Mhm.
So it's like, he might as well be dead, but not in the way that he's like depressed and it's like doesn't do anything. But it's like his previous life is gone, and they kind of play with that too later on in the story when it's like, "Oop, you don't exist now," and it's like,
Just for a second
Right
there,
back.
you were technically dead. You were technically dead because I clicked the wrong button. What kind of securities firm is that?
Yeah,
man?
which, I feel like Brian Azzarello doesn't know how computers work. Like, based on his
Wait.
like explanation of how the woman can like rebuild the dude's life, and how the woman like got the pictures onto the dude's hard drive. I don't think that's how that works.
This was
I
1999.
honestly,
I mean, to be fair, yes, this is the time of the net, so I am
huh?
not begrudging him too
Oh.
much, but
I think I might have given him more credit then, because I was like, oh, so they have that power. Like, she has some magical power to do all that.
What are you
That's what
talking
I
about?
thought.
It's just like a matter of like controlling what's digitally kept, right?
Well, so then, like, her power and influence was so great that she could do that. Not that Brian Azzarello just thought, oh, that's what computers could do.
it's like, oh, this is fine.
Alright,
They're not
so-
going to think about this. It's fine.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that, she definitely is a higher up, with like a lot of power and money and control, but she's also very, very skilled with computers in a way that is scary and foreign to most people in 1999. She was able to, while she was high, to get child pornography onto other people's computers, onto their hard drive.
Also, do you notice the number that she used? How many guys? So she sent the photos to a random number of guys.
Was it?
Because
It was 69, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyway,
That's a high thought. That makes sense. That I can believe.
yeah. So and
Why
then
not 42, man?
because she was like, yeah, guys like this so much, so here you go. I'm like, ugh.
Okay, so the story, he's told, his life pretty much ended. In my opinion, I do think he sees himself as dead, because all he's doing is meeting his basic needs. Working here, making a few bucks so he can pay the rent, feed himself, go to the strip club. And it's one of those things where it's different than like, oh, my business failed, I went bankrupt, pick myself back up. Like something you can recover from with hard work and perseverance. This isn't something you can like get rid of, right?
Yeah, you're not going to bootstrap
And
your way out of those charges.
And he's definitely, to some extent, trying to like do the best he can, because he's still talking to his kid when he sees him, still trying to interact, like ask about his wife.
Yeah.
Or ex-wife.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
yeah.
so pretty much, Graves comes to him, is like, here's a gun, does he give him money? No.
No
Just
money.
a gun. Yeah, I don't know why I thought money. Gives him a gun, and is pretty much like, if you see this woman, she did this to you, which is always a great thing when someone's like, how you've been wronged? This person did it. You should do something about that.
It's like I said,
remember,
I'm
he
not
doesn't say
telling
that.
you what to do, but she'll be
It
here.
would be crazy.
and
if this
you'll have this gun.
untraceable gun.
I think it was at this point in the story where I just felt like, man, this feels like a social experiment that he's doing. Where it's just like, what would people do if they figured out who wronged them and given the means to do something about it?
I mean, that's why it's an interesting premise, right? But
Mm.
man, they really go wild with that. Like, anything can happen.
Yeah, it does get kind of Twilight Zone-y, where it's like... Actually, it might be a Twilight Zone episode, where somebody's life is ruined, they took the revenge, and then like, unexpected thing happens. You didn't know, which is kind of a dumb twist, but it's effective.
Mm-hmm.
I more have meant the fact that like there's not okay, so the main characters of each story, there's no consequence technically to like killing the person. Like they won't get caught. So eliminating that part is the other consequences, like the emotional consequences. But then it just comes out that the villains can just like do anything, like hand wave anything. Like, he doesn't exist anymore. I gave him $1 million. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. There's no give and take. I feel like it's too much. I feel like we're getting into what I don't like.
Okay,
Right.
so let me see if I understand. So give and take, let's say in the sense of like someone's really strong, has an even stronger weakness kind of thing? Like,
It definitely
Is that what you mean by
doesn't
give and
feel
take?
like there's a weakness, yeah.
okay.
I guess maybe that's part of it.
I mean,
Because, like,
part of- go ahead. Sorry.
Nah.
Excuse me. Well, part of it for me is that basically, like, we don't get to stay with these characters, at least in this first volume. Like, there's definitely the potential for Disney to show back up, but we don't stay with her. And so we do get the sense that, like, everything is connected, especially with Graves. But I guess, yeah, the problem that I have, that I think is leading into what you were talking about, is that, it doesn't have like very much of a character arc, and it feels more like, I wouldn't say a social experiment, but a thought experiment, like a moral thought experiment. It's like, okay, well, what if you were in this situation and you had these problems, and and it's like, that can be a good start to a story. That's a good like start, but like they almost don't feel real. It just feels like what, like completely real, if that makes sense. So it's like, basically, like, take for instance the second story. It's like, okay, so this thing happened to you. You were framed, and you get the 100 bullets, and then they're like, and then the thought experiment is like, okay, well, I used the 100 bullets and I killed the person, and then they're like, okay, but wait, what if they offer you lots of money? It's like, it's very like clearly like this, I don't know. It's not surprising, except for suddenly they have the power to change the narrative. I don't know if that's making any sense to you guys.
I guess, yeah, it becomes more about the concepts and less about the, like, actual things happening, I
Right,
guess.
yeah.
Because, like, it becomes, so what happens, he keeps trying to kill her because she shows up at the bar for her birthday, for a bar crawl or whatever.
Mhm.
And he has the gun, and he takes no time in, like, trying to corner her in the bathroom, trying to, like, he fantasizes about just shooting her right there in front of everybody.
Mhm.
Which I did like as a panel, like the first time I went through it. It's like, it doesn't actually happen, but it would be interesting if it did.
Yeah, it would be
It's
funny.
definitely,
Okay.
you don't realize it's a dream, or a sequence for him.
Because I guess, yeah, that's the
Wait,
thing.
the
It's like,
bathroom
okay,
is a dream?
the police won't investigate you, but if everybody sees you shoot somebody,
Yeah.
I don't think they could get away with not investigating that.
Well, I think
No,
it'd
no.
more be like, I don't think you're gonna have your friends anymore, man.
Like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna let you clock back in at the bar.
True. True. Everyone would be, hushed into silence, but you would be gone.
I don't think it would be hushed into silence. I think the police would just be like, that's crazy. Can't believe that happened. Anyway,
Yeah, definitely.
that's
I
happened plenty in real life, right? Like,
Would, yeah.
there's like a billion witnesses, and the police are like, Shame if somebody investigated this.
I mean, I guess we do see that though when in the last story where it's just like, yeah, they just did investigate, and now I'm telling you that I did it, and they're just like, just crazy old bird.
Yeah, so he, what is it? He steals her, not pendant, brooch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
He steals her brooch, and he used that excuse to go to her company, Securities Dietrich, which, like, man, you gonna shoot somebody and walk out of there?
I
That
mean,
was the part where I was like, this is so dumb.
still got 99 bullets after that.
Oh yeah, what is happening in between that? There's like this
I have
whole
no
like
idea.
scene where people are like getting shot from a helicopter and like in a different
Separate,
skyscraper.
more exciting scene.
Yeah, but I didn't understand. I was like,
Well, I don't think there is anything to understand. I don't think it's explained, at least not yet. I don't even know if it's like relevant characters or if it's just.
So like the first scene of that, outside of what was actually happening, she said, and I assume he's waiting downstairs for you with like a car and a getaway, whatever. And so I was then under the assumption that was Agent Graves that was shooting at people, but I mean that's not his attire, so I don't know.
yeah.
No,
and
that wasn't him. I mean, she was just trying to bait him into talking about who gave her up, right?
Mhm.
Well, he's just downstairs, right? Like, well, no, he isn't. Like, be quiet, man.
Yeah.
People just give up their secrets so easily.
He seems a lot less smart than Dizzy.
Yeah. Cause she
Well,
offers him.
I could totally see her because she's more like street smart, right? Well, he's dealing with street level, He doesn't
He was
have
just
that
a
knowledge.
dude before this, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's very intelligent in the kitchen. Just
It's just
Give him credit where it's due, I guess.
it's a pretty old saying, but if something seems too good to be true, it usually is. And this is like the best deal he could ever have gotten.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just real
so
dumb.
So yeah, he goes in there with the gun. He's like returning the brooch, and she's like, "Here, I'll give you some money." And he's like, "Gun," and threatens her and tries. Basically, she gives up what actually happened, right? Like you were saying, she was just high, and it was a prank. It's funny, bro.
Also, he wasn't concerned at all that, hey, she doesn't seem concerned.
Yeah,
Have
she's
you
taken
been
this
to
in
point blank at
stride.
a gun? Have you been at point blank range of a gun before?
Which, maybe, Wall Street types. Who knows what's going on?
I mean, he hasn't been in these situations before, so he doesn't know how to
fair.
read the room.
Yeah.
Or just watch her, like, press a panic button under her desk or something.
I was honestly expecting that. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, when are the people gonna just blast in? She's just stalling for time.
Well, she knew she was gonna make it out of there.
So, that's the thing with Isabella. She's like, in the first story, she says everything happens for a reason. I believe that. Meanwhile, the second one, it's almost like the opposite, right? You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, luck of the draw.
Mhm.
It didn't happen to you because you're bad. It just happened to you because you were there.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, so
I hate men
he-
kind of thing.
Who, like, registers their what account is she talking about? That's the part I'm thinking, like, we just were on the web and sent it to accounts registered to men.
Don't worry about it.
What? See, that's the thing. I thought it was just like a, maybe she was on a gross website and, like, hidden somewhere in that website was those images. And so she, like, sent it to, like, everybody's hub account.
The way that this was executed does not matter. And so, like, I can
I
understand
understand how most of it.
Like, I understand why Brian Azzarello was like, okay, yes, the medium of like how this occurred doesn't matter. All that matters is that his life was ruined. So throw together some explanation, because that isn't the part that matters.
Yeah, what matters is that the
like
internet is scary.
It's they don't know. I don't know. Scary. Bad. Don't know how bad yet.
I feel like it's
23
not like
years later,
that
it still
hard to think about, like how the different things happen. Like it's just a worm gets on your computer, leaves images there. Like people do that in real life.
Well, yeah, but this was written 23 years ago. Very different internet at the time.
I don't think he knew. Also, like, anyway,
Yeah.
that happens. She offers him a bunch of money to like wipe his slate clean, get rid of his criminal record, which like he's super stoked about.
Like, they still write stuff down, though, at the FBI. Like, there's not just the computerized documents. Like, they're gonna...
Especially back then.
They're gonna notice that, like, the list went down by 1 for some reason.
Okay, it's like, what is it? It's untraceable bullets versus untraceable criminal record, right? Which one's gonna win?
Yeah. It's very Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where it's like, I can just hack into the system and delete, everything.
Okay, but then his principal just watches his days go down. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's the thing I was gonna say. Like, she gets rid of like the official stuff, but his family is not going to forget.
Yeah, like, all your neighbors are still gonna remember that time you got raided by the FBI. Like, this is not a solution. Barring just, like, leaving the country, I guess, with your new money. But...
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, she does say that he could have a new social security number, basically kind of witness protection style. Like, that doesn't help with the family, they would have to be convinced, but, he could ostensibly...
If it gets wiped, right? If it gets wiped, you're like, man, they made a mistake.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think about that? Find out that your spouse is looking at things they shouldn't be looking at.
Call the police immediately. I don't care how long it's been.
Really?
Pick up the yes, because the relationship is based on the implicit understanding that you are not actively committing crimes. And if you just don't tell me and try to take that as excuse, that's a lie by omission. Like, okay, it's one thing.
What do you think is going to change this answer, Talon?
Like, if it's like, okay, I am a high-class art thief, I want you to be in on this next heist, then maybe. Then I'll be like, okay, yes, high-class art thievery, sure. But, like...
A victimless crime.
Okay,
if I am
can understand.
Murderer, assaulter, I go out and key cars. Like, no, you're getting reported for all those. Immediately. I don't care.
Jaywalking.
Serial jaywalker? Jail.
No.
Is our grid becoming a political compass?
I just really want to know what you're going to say, Talon. I need to know.
Like,
no, I just feel like they need to work at it, Like, you don't need a divorce. You just like, hey, look, you have a serious moral failing. I still love you, but we need to work, you need to fix that.
If you know that you're doing something wrong like that, maybe not finding out when they're doing the wrong thing is like a great part. Maybe like if they're going to therapy.
Yeah.
They're like, I would like to do this wrong thing, but I'm gonna go see a therapist.
That's okay. Yes, that's different then.
You catch them in the act of like murdering, and they're like, "I'll go to therapy, I promise."
It's like, no, you already did the murder. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so he gets offered a bunch of money, his slate wiped clean. He is the biggest dummy ever, and then he turns his back on the lady, and she shoots him.
Well, yeah,
she doesn't
just turn his back. Yeah, he gives her the gun, still loaded. Just take the bullets out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't need the bullets. I'll give you the gun, but you don't need the bullets. Here's the gun.
Okay, this is a big assumption that like she doesn't have a gun already.
I mean, they're in New York.
Fair.
Gun laws are fairly restrictive. Probably a safe bet. She doesn't have a gun.
This woman,
In 1999?
this woman gave him $1 million using her computer. Do you think she cares about laws?
That's also a good point.
That's the problem. I think that is the larger problem, where it's like, it doesn't matter because she can do anything.
Okay, yes, that makes that point make more sense. Yeah. But I don't think she does have a gun,
like,
to be fair.
Okay, I mean, she doesn't need one.
Yeah, because he just gives her the gun.
And he could have just walked out, and she could have said to her security guard, "Shoot him." Like,
Yeah. But yeah.
turret gun outside her office.
Yeah.
No, he
As soon
should
as
have
he
been
gets
like,
shot,
he should have been like, I'm sorry, someone gave this to me. They didn't tell me to give it to somebody else, so I'm keeping it.
that's the thing. Also, one of Graves' things is like, if that
Yeah.
gun gets in the wrong hands, there's gonna be consequences. What are you gonna do? Jump through the window and stop them?
Maybe the gun will
There's a
explode.
plane, or there's an airplane there. You just catch a ride.
The helicopter.
Did I say airplane? I meant to say.
Helicopter, airplane, they fly.
Yeah.
Birds,
I just need
balloons,
Graves
all the
to,
same.
like, I need Graves to like roll out of the air duct and be like, "Hey, I didn't give that to you, so you can give it away."
But yeah,
Pulls
that,
out another gun.
Just falls through the grates.
a more untraceable gun.
The gun should just explode if somebody else holds it.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Oh, you mean like Judge Dredd?
So dumb.
Is that what happened? I was thinking of like
Also
like
RoboCop,
Blade's
probably.
sword. His sword that has the blades. That
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Well, no, that's a part in the Carl Urban Judge Dredd movie. Like, one of the guys picks up the Judge Dredd's gun, but it's not Judge Dredd, so the gun explodes.
End of the story, it backfires on him, giving in to money and having his record wiped clean.
Mhm.
I mean, that probably was his main motivation, is like, if he could just have that, he wouldn't have even like tried to kill her. But man, he sure tried to kill her several times.
Proving the message that
If he
you should
didn't get
always
that-
take your revenge as soon as you could.
Revenge is best served piping hot.
Immediately. As fast as possible.
No, so then it just devolves into like the larger plot where like the lady calls up somebody else, is like, Graves is still alive or something. I don't know. Larger plot.
And his one defining trait is that he killed a dog.
Villain established.
So mad.
Mm-hmm.
He's so mad he stabbed the thing closest to him. Loyal dog.
Subtlety is for cowards.
I feel like
Yeah,
that's the story
yeah.
in like a nutshell.
If you're weak, you die. You're right.
That dog was weak for sitting near me.
But yeah, I do like, other than that part of the ending, I do like the ending where it's like he reached out to his son to like, hey, meet me at this bar after I think I'm going to take my revenge. And then it's like, it's very Twilight Zone, where it's like something has happened to make this, like, the events that were going to happen impossible. In this case, dude's dead. And it's very just like, yeah, world moves on. He skipped town. Everything he owed, add another zero, basically.
Not even that. It's like, as she says to the security guards when they're like, "What do you want us to do with the dead body?" She's like, "You can do whatever. He doesn't exist."
It's like, yeah, he does not matter.
Like,
So, with his son showing up at the bar, that woman that was next to him, do you think that was the stripper?
that was
I
the
can't remember
that
his
was
name. It was? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because
Well,
he
she
like
actually
convinced
showed up.
her. Well, he convinced her that he was gonna have like a rebirth party.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah,
If
do
you
you
don't
want your kid
come,
in
I'll
this
be so
the stripper that you've just been like
staring
favoriting? I don't know what
Literally.
the what the term is.
Hey,
Parachute
we're-
social relationship.
Oh yeah,
we're
I guess yeah, that's
family
true.
now.
at Twitch streamer.
I mean,
Yeah, it's not just for online. Develop parasocial relationships.
but yeah, it's weird. I don't know how he expected that like visit to go. It's like I've just committed a murder, but it's fine.
My favorite people
like,
are here.
The
I assumed he was gonna tell him.
the
hey,
explanation is going to
I
make
know
you
what
sound
happened.
like a maniac.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much is. Like, he instantly took to that explanation. That's what still, like, really gets me.
Because it's like
It's like,
when Dizzy gets the gun, like we see, okay, the police aren't investigating her having a gun, even though she's a felon on parole. She definitely shouldn't have a gun. But like, but even when the police find her, they're like, "Yep, captain says it's all right. Leave the gun with her." But it's like, but it's super late. But the captain says, all right. But like, this guy doesn't get any of that. He's just like, oh yeah, this guy tells me this completely, like, out of control story about this is the person who planted all the stuff that ruined my life and my computer. Yeah, sure. Sounds like a plan.
he doesn't even tell him what happened. He just says, you know who did it to you? This person. Get him. Like,
And he's
and
down
that's the
for
thing
it
with
immediately.
Isabella, like, Dizzy, like, doesn't necessarily believe it at first. Or she doesn't, she kind of wants
Like,
to
she
know
has to
why.
be
Like, she wants
convinced
to know more.
that it's fine.
Yeah. Or that they even did it. Like, yeah.
Mm.
I think that just gets me every time. But then, yeah, the third story is the one of the old lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she comes in. There's a little bit of like ruckus with like, well, not ruckus, but like, you know, there's someone waiting for his dad to be released, and so she kind of like comes in. She's like, "Hey, I want to excuse me," and they're kind of like busy talking, and then she's like, "Excuse me" for the second time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what up?" And she's like, "I'd like to report a murder," and they're like, "Who?" And the guy was just instantly like, "Oh yeah, it's that guy that died 3 years ago." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And so she's like, "Yeah, so my kid's been eating paint chips, and the guy knew about the problem of the paint chips, but didn't do anything about it. And so this guy showed up, gave me a briefcase, a photo with the guy, and a gun with 100 bullets, and I shot him." And they're like, and they tried to pull up his file, but file wasn't there.
Because there was no investigation because he
Yeah.
died of natural causes.
Yeah. And so she was there to report the murder because she felt that what she did was wrong. And so, yeah. I will say, like, her son coming in, I was like, whoa, that's rough. Yeah.
What?
Just seeing him, like, the result of him eating paint chips.
Was that her son?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was just a random guy.
No.
That she happened to, like, console.
I'm pretty sure that was her son.
Yeah.
Yeah, so was it her son comes in and he comes off as just like another drug addict going crazy, and she's able to calm him down.
Yeah. Well, that, after he gets decked by the guy sitting there waiting for his dad to be released.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it kind of ends with one of the detectives going into a interrogation room, and Graves is there, and he's holding a picture. Is that supposed to be the guy sitting waiting for his dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, because when the detective is talking to the old lady, she of course tells him about the 100 untraceable bullets, and he, briefly mentions after she notices the picture of his wife that, he basically implies that she died, that it's yours. And so the connection is that the kid that was out there, kid as in, like, he's an adult, but, he killed the detective's wife. And now Graves is offering a 100 bullet deal to the detective to kill the guy. And basically, the woman's story acts as a way to back up the idea of the 100 bullets to the detective. He, obviously doesn't want to risk his job if this isn't legit, so it's like, nah, this is somebody else, a real person who went through with this, and just told their story. Which kind of like both is, it also acts as showing like Grimes is so powerful, he basically can manipulate events so that the old woman can be there to admit her guilt to back up the story that he's telling.
Looking back at those pages, I don't think that's her son. Like, it's never mentioned that's her son. It's just a guy
she
that, like...
She says my boy, right? Or something like that.
Well, yeah, but, like, in a grandmother kind of way.
Let's see. I was pretty
Because they literally... Right before that, the two detectives are talking just before she does her murder confession, and they're like, I thought you had some joker in the box. And the guy goes, yeah, he's still there. I need a break, okay? And then she does her murder confession, and they're bringing out this one dude. Because she doesn't leave with him either. Just some dude.
Man, you guys got way more out of this issue than I did. I thought it was just like neat world building. But
Gotcha.
I also didn't catch it. That was Agent Graves, like, talking to the guy about, like, doing the next 100 bullets, like, hit, I guess.
I mean, he's there looking like the devil, right?
Yeah, I thought it was just some dude. Thought it was kind of a weird way to end it. It was just like, just looking at this picture.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, actually... Go ahead.
I guess it could be interpreted either way.
I don't think that's her son. She didn't bring her son in, and she didn't come in to get her son. She came in to murder confess.
That's
I agree with you now. I misread that scene. But that's what I thought initially. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how it ends. So, I guess we've kind of trickled in through the summary, but do you want to talk more explicitly about what we liked about this story?
Yeah, I feel like I always say this, but like the sexual explicitness of this comic was just I didn't like that.
When?
But also, like, I'm not saying that this makes this book bad. I think for this reason, I think it's good. I guess. But, like, they portrayed, I think, the, like, gangster lifestyle. What?
So I was just confused about what you were saying. You were saying that you didn't like the sexual explicitness.
Perhaps a better term is vulgar.
Oh
It
yeah,
was very vulgar. I didn't like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was good for the context of what it was,
Yeah.
where they were, and like who they're talking to. Because like the bar is supposed to be skeevy, like Isabel is supposed to be around people who like are comfortable with murdering someone over like allegiances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was nothing like explicit shown so much as like implied it was about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just it offended my delicate sensibilities.
I think it was meant to make you uncomfortable for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, these people are gross.
But
Sorry,
but
Cody. What are you trying to say?
but the other side of that is that you did like the, I don't know, you felt like the representation of gangster culture was appropriate and correct.
Mm, yeah.
Okay.
And so what I was saying with that aspect is that I felt uncomfortable reading it, but I think that's just saying the writing is very good.
Okay.
I think that's what it means.
Yeah, it better not be peaches and sunshine.
Well,
Yeah.
and I was like, so like what I was saying is like, I just felt uncomfortable because I was like, I would not want to be around these kind of people, and so
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that it's good characterization for the most part of like, it doesn't feel over the top in so much that it feels sometimes in the way it does with gangsters that it's like a child overcompensating kind of viewpoint. It's like, I'm vulgar, I'm cool, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the dialogue like felt natural. Sometimes it didn't. Which, yeah, it's kind of a neutral statement, I guess. But yeah, it. I guess what it reminded me most of was like first season Law and Order SVU.
That's very specific.
First season. Okay.
Yeah,
Only
mean,
the
the-
first.
well, both from 1999. You know, and Streets of New York, kind of. Sensibility, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Also,
That's
Cody,
the thing,
I just realized, did you say, hey, so next segment we should get into things that we do like?
Yeah.
Because I definitely went the things I don't like.
Yeah, that's part of why I was confused. I had to go back over it.
Talon says 1 thumbs up for the explicit content. I think I pretty much discussed like the sections I liked as we went through them. But yeah, I liked Isabella's story, the first one, for sure. Lee's story, yes, I can feel that story just going off the rails. So, like, Isabella's, like, I think that most of the dialogue in there, even when it is cheesy, I feel like it's in a way because people are putting up fronts. Like I was saying, you know, they're trying to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, you know what I just realized too is that I think it makes sense that Isabella is like we like better because it's like, you know, it's setting her up to appear later, but then like Lee dies at the end of his story. You know, it's really to set up the lady as part of this bad guy organization. You know, like he doesn't really matter except for as a vehicle to deliver this information. And same for the older lady in the third short story. You know, it's like she's also just a vehicle to set up the next thing.
Which is probably why those don't hit quite as well.
Yeah.
Fair. I don't know. I personally rather would have like one story for like a collected issue. So to me, ending Izzy's story and then including 2 others like lowers its effectiveness for me.
But I mean, Lee's story was how many issues?
2.
Like just 2, yeah. So it would literally be like, what? This was 5 in all. Does that mean
No, it was
Izzy's
6.
story was
It's 3. Izzy's was 3 issues. His was 2.
It said 1 to 5 for me, so maybe I
Yeah,
misunderstood.
no, I think it was.
I also thought that was weird.
I'm pretty sure it was 1 to 5, and the old lady story was just a backup in the second lead issue.
Okay.
Bonus.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely doesn't feel like a full issue so much. Because it's only a few pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can't do collected volumes of just like 3 issues, I feel like.
Yeah.
Can you?
Well,
I feel like that's the only reason, really.
3 would.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
might-
I guess you could, but you'd have
Well,
to
they
price
have
it
to be longer
differently.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly not standard format, and booksellers would probably have trouble, getting buyers, convincing.
Although Harleen is in 3 issues, that whole collected edition.
But how long is that? Does that have longer?
I think it is longer though.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head, but
So also, like, as much as you'd like it for just be Isabella's in this section, and the next book you buy is just Lee's.
well, I mean,
It's that's like setting up for this larger thing. We can tell already that it's supposed to be about the bigger secret organization. So dumb. Yeah.
well, you can't have
You
can't
know,
just have one secret organization. You have to have 2, at least.
They have to fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
Department of
One's
Truth
mean,
did it better.
one's real good. Yeah, I just.
Yeah, and
Especially,
there you go.
I was gonna say with how they like. I liked a lot of the like stuff Isabella went through, where she's like, "Is this right? Is this wrong?" Kind of in her own terms. But also that guy being like, "Well, those corrupt cops, they're evil. Like, they're not good, right?" Like he's like trying to push her towards that. But that just, of course, brings back the question of, what are you guys then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought that much about it, mostly because I read the summary and they just kind of are the good guys, it looks like.
That's the thing, though. Like, I felt like it was trying to explore it a little bit, because, Isabella's pushing back. She's like, I shouldn't do this. There's no reason to. They're like, well, we're not putting a gun to your head, but it'd be real cool if you did kill them. They have an agenda to push. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard me, but I kind of mentioned the Department of Truth. I'm like, it reminds me of that. Where it's like 2 organizations. One is definitely framed as the good guys, and one is the bad guys. But both bad.
That's the thing, because Isabella joins them, right? Like, you always have to have the first issue where somebody is fish out of water, but they turn out to be okay, and then they join the organization. And then you learn about the organization through the lens of this, like, newcomer. But, so I guess Lee would represent when it goes wrong. Do most of theirs go wrong? I guess not. The old lady doesn't die. It's very interesting that Isabella gets picked up by them.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're even like talking about what we like about it. It's just something to discuss for sure.
Well, yeah, and I've said that I like a little bit of like Izzy's worldview. I'd say like, all right, cool, I like that, and that's probably the extent of what I like.
I mean, is that important to you, Talon? Is it important to you that people have a worldview you like as like the main characters?
As to whether or not it's a good story, not really, but it is like, I like that.
Okay, so wait, are you saying that this story isn't a good story in your opinion, but you just like the worldview thing?
No, I'm not saying. I'm
So
saying
you're
I'm
saying
just saying that aspect is it.
Doesn't make a good story necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. Because, like, I don't know. You definitely... Main characters... I don't feel like Isabella is a main character, even though it feels like she's set up as one. I don't know. I'm thinking too much about that 4th volume, man.
No. She comes back. Next time we see her, she comes back as, like, Agent graves, like stand-in or something.
I feel like that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But man, that fourth volume. Girls are just pretty and sexy in that one.
Yeah, that was something I feel like most of us talk about what we liked. Something that I disliked is like I feel like this doesn't get the like it's trying to be noir, but what it got from like women in noir is that like women's sexy. Just put it in there.
Evil.
It's a noir story.
Sexy evil.
And it's like, no, that's not. I mean, that's like what it looks like, but that's not what the point of those noir stories is.
I mean, I think that's why I like Isabella so much. Although, man, she wears some tight fitting shirts. Every single scene.
But I do wonder if that is more a problem of the story or if it's a problem
Probably
of the art.
It's probably a style. It definitely, some people have a style like that. It's always so weird to me.
Oh, wait. Okay, I have that one panel in my head. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but that one would.
But, I mean, that's why I like Isabella. Like, she has a conundrum, and she's going through it, and she's interacting with the world as a realistic person, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you get to Lee's story, and it's like, woman evil. Other woman, old lady, and gross. And then other woman in bathroom. It's just like, and then stripper, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 4 roles. Yeah, so it just kind of, they're just so cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
Evil man stabs dog. Evil woman tricks him. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I will say something that I kind of wanted to say and what I liked was just that, like, it certainly is thought-provoking, right? Like, it wasn't hard for us to come up with things to talk about, I feel like. You know, it wasn't just a basic story, I guess. But yeah, it's like, I think that it was okay with just being thought-provoking and not really thinking very critically about what kind of thoughts it was provoking and like having like concrete answers to those thoughts, I guess. It was just like, yeah, consider these things. So yeah, like, interesting, but doesn't really take you anywhere necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I fall in this book, I feel like. Right.
Conceptually interesting, and then like the first part, to me, there's actually a bit of a character arc, so that's why it's decent.
Yeah.
But then it ends like there's a resolution that she makes a choice and sticks with it. So I don't know if I'd want to see more Isabella. Like, what is she then?
It's a good point. Yeah, and I think I'd have to kind of agree with you. I'm like, yeah, what else does she really have to do? Like, I think that we're all in agreement that she's going to be like a Graves type agent, but it's like, I don't really want to see her in that role.
That's the thing. I don't know if I can see her being the type of person to be like encouraging people to take revenge.
Yeah.
So it's so weird that they like invite her into the car at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Although, I mean, to be fair, like, to me, the way I see it is, where else is she gonna go? Like, she doesn't have any ties anymore.
I mean, okay, so what if she, instead of becoming a Graves type agent immediately, what if it's like she joins the group and she's just like an understudy? And is it gonna be a slow corruption where she becomes convinced through seeing these people try to enact revenge that this is necessary?
Yeah.
See,
I guess
like,
it kind of.
I don't feel like I would like that just because they already introduced other stories in between that. So to me, it's like if you're gonna have volume 1, you would have all of her story, or at least as much as you could fit, before introducing these other issues.
So that's the thing, like, what if... I don't know if I would have liked it any better if Isabella witnessed Lee's story. To, bystander kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. It sounds like you want to read more.
Who are you talking to?
Anybody?
Any takers?
I assumed it was Shawenta.
Yeah, I
have read more.
So, Cody, you had something?
Yeah, I just quickly, because I know that we're running out of time, I wanted to talk about the art, because I did have some thoughts about that I was saving. And basically, you can really tell that there's like some like cinematic thinking going on, as well as just like good, concrete comic book cartooning skills, like just like panel layout, stuff like that, perspective, dark and light. All of that stuff is really adding an important element to like visual meaning of the story, not just like representing the characters and what's happening with the action, but like it's like using the tools of comics to tell the story better. I thought that should be pointed out in particular.
It was definitely a very graphic style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I liked it. Like, it was very thoughtful about when it used black spots. Unfortunately, like, the downside to that is sometimes it's hard to tell who's who.
Yes.
Like, even rereading it.
I definitely agree. I got super confused with who was who, and I couldn't remember people's names. And I was all like, wait, is this Dizzy? No, that's not Dizzy. Is that her sister? Or... Yeah.
And there's her mom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was...
Her mom, who's like almost a copy of her.
To be fair, though, I assumed that she had her young, just as Izzy had.
Yeah, for sure. But still, like, if they stood next to each other and weren't wearing those specific outfits, I would have had trouble. Like, even... So, like, it's a very simplified at times style. So, like, showing that picture of the two cops, it's just, like, some dudes. Like, am I supposed to recognize them later? That was a big problem.
Yeah. Also, another problem that's not technically the art, but kind of the art, but the lettering, there was a lot of times where a sound effect, an onomatopoeia sound effect, was meant to indicate something, like when her brother gets a phone call, or when one of the kids slaps another kid. That was supposed to indicate action, and then they commented on that action, and the lettering wasn't clear enough, it wasn't bold enough to me, where I was like, oh, I'm supposed to notice that this thing happened, Yeah, I kind of like had to go back because I saw that they were commenting on it, and I was like, oh, the phone rang. Oh, the kid slapped the other kid. I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Yeah, man. Some of the actions for sure. Like when her brother first shows up with the car, that entire like sequence where she's like, "Are you expecting someone?" And the car pulls up, and the guys are like, "No, but we're always ready." And then rolls down the window. It's her brother. None of that sequence like came off as like in motion to me. I was like, "What is going on? How did her brother just appear?" I don't know. I guess it might be too static at times, which is funny to say because it's good at doing action when it wants to. Mostly gun action though. It's not too much running and jumping.
Yeah, I like the art. It was fun. There was like a small foreword at the beginning, and people talked about the art being not very well received at the time. So, and it
Well received or not well received?
that it was well received. I sort of misspoke.
Okay.
But yeah, it was good. I liked. It's definitely noir inspired, as this whole story kind of is, and it does that pretty well.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, I didn't like the art style that much, and I was just like, it feels too wavy, is the word that came to mind, and it reminded me of Ed, Edd and Eddy. Have you ever seen that TV show? But like, more in the outline of the character, not so much because when I think of Ed, Edd and Eddy, there are times where like the details aren't really like all filled in. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the outline.
Okay.
Are you referring to a thicker silhouette outline?
No, I'm referring to like waviness.
Okay, so like the structure of the.
I think you mean
persons.
that the lines aren't super smooth. It's like a very stick-thin kind of style of line work.
That could be. So, in the scene where the cops are in the strip club and that guy's drinking, like, I don't know if that's exactly the example that I'm thinking of, but that comes to mind as an example of what I would be talking about.
Yeah, not enough context for me to agree or disagree. What if I were to say that this art reminds me of anything? It would be Magnolia's Hellboy.
I mean, that's the use of spot blacks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the art almost reminded me of Invincible a little bit, just because it's such thin line work.
I can see that. There's an element of that. Yeah.
Was that like a thing in the early 2000s? It was just like super thin lines?
Probably.
I mean, to be fair, it's a very quick way of doing it in some ways. You don't have to worry about the line weights.
I'm sure that there's probably a lot more experimentation with line weight with the common usage of computer graphics.
But yeah, you can redo it.
Anyway, though, so quick round robin. Would you read more? And then
No.
no.
Yeah, probably not. I didn't
No.
like it that much.
Yeah.
I think I actually would like if I could just get a book of only Isabella's part, because I like that enough, the art-wise and story-wise, to keep it. That's about it, though.
Yeah,
I have the fourth book already. I don't need any more.
that comic store person lied to me. I didn't like this book.
Day ruined, huh?
Yeah, I liked the art.
Bummer.
I think I'd look at more art, but other than that, yeah, the story is like it's definitely a Wikipedia summary. If I was like even, I'm not sure I'm that.
I can
interested.
feel that story ready to go off the rails.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you all for listening. This has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Taylon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. You can catch our show as it airs on Mondays from 5 to 7 p.m. on KSUA 91.5 FM, the People's Radio in Fairbanks, Alaska. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Comic Panel, It's Comic Time. You can find The Comic Panel anywhere you listen to podcasts. Find us on Facebook at It's Comic Time, Instagram at _comic_panel, and Twitter at The Comic Panel 1. There, you will get updates on when we air on KSUA and when an episode is uploaded to YouTube and to the podcast. Have a great rest of your day.